Parliament Funkadelic was telling you niggas about downtown Atlantis, Bimini Road, in the music 40 years ago. Well, let me teach you something about Bimini Road. Bimini Road, if you look under it, has this port. And you can see when you look under the water about 60, 70 feet under, you see these rock formations. Well, these rock formations, when you see how it's put together, was actually a breakwater and a harbor for massive ships. Bimini Road is actually proof that naval travel on Earth has been going on. If you're going to look at the carbon dating on these, not carbon dating, but the dating on these rocks, you're going to see that these have been down there for at least 50,000 years. Because what happened in the world, you have to combine people moving throughout the earth with climate history. We had the Warmian Ice Age. Let me put it up. You had the Warmian Ice Age that was, and look it up. Everything I'm saying, you guys can look up, okay? The Warmian Ice Age, when the glaciers were like at massive points between 100,000 and 12,000 years ago. Well, during the Warmian Ice Age, the sea levels were a lot lower. So beaches went a lot further out. There's so much during that same time. If you look at a map, let me pull up a map real quick. If you look here, let me show y'all something. I feel like teaching today. Downtown Atlantis. If you look at a map, expand this out, during the Warmian Ice Age, most of what we now know is California, Nevada. A lot of that stuff was under ice. That's why California wasn't too. The reason why California doesn't have long stretches of population is because there are long stretches of time where California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, a lot of this is under ice. The reason why we have mesas in New Mexico is because when the Ice Age receded, those mountaintops were shaved off at the recession of the Ice Age. But you can do, and I've been here in person. If you ever go to Sedona, and I love Sedona. If you ever go to Sedona, I need you to come here to Montezuma's caves. I'm sorry I'm doing this shit off memory, so I don't know. I'm doing this shit because I know how to drive to Sedona. Where's Sedona? Where's Montezuma's, this Lake Montezuma? Yeah, but there's also Montezuma's caves. What you find here in Montezuma's caves, at the end of that last ice age, you see these. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Here it is. Okay, I wasn't too far away. If you come to Montezuma Castle, you see these dwellings, these cave dwellings where dark-skinned people, what that they say, were around. At the end of that ice age, when things start to recede, you had these caves, and you find these caves also all throughout the Grand Canyon, where people were living. And in these residencies, you got people going back. That these are like apartments where you had hundreds of people living in these civilizations in these caves that were around 10,000 years ago. Okay, at the recession of those ice ages, when you go through Arizona, when you go out and you just kind of drive through Arizona, if you've ever been on that drive from Phoenix to Flagstaff, you've seen it. You can just look at it and see how those mesas are, those flat mesas. You know, it's actually pretty beautiful, actually, when you look at those mesas all throughout Arizona. Um, but anyway, you got that going on. But during that warming and ice age, when it was before it receded, if you look here, Bora Bora, the Indonesian islands, before the recession of that last ice age, all of this was a connected landmass. Timor Sea, this was land. New Guinea used to connect to Australia. The Indonesian islands were all these, where you see this flat water right here, this was all landmass. Just underneath the water out here in Indonesia lies civilizations that lasted for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years before the ice age had receded. And when the ice age receded and sea levels rose, then became islands. No different than over here off the coast of Florida. And as you get into the what we now know as the Bahamas and Bimini, where we just were, these are major land masses. And you had these major ship ports that you find at Bimini Road. Right here. When you go down under there, you see those you see where they had major shipping because it was a different world back then. Why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this to say during that time, folks, black folks been circumnavigating the globe, people. Nigga, we everywhere. That's why Kamala Harris looked like us. She ain't us, but she looked like us because Kamala Harris's people, them motherfuckers, if you believe the out of Africa theory, if you believe, and I'm gonna go with that because that's the prevailing thought. I'm not. I believe more is deeper than out of Africa. I believe in star seeding and all that stuff too. But let's go with out of Africa. Even when you go with the out of Africa theory, people were in the Americas 100,000 plus years ago.